Dusekkar could very well potentially be the best supportive survivor in Forsaken. Yes, better than Elliot's burst healing and mobility, better than Builderman's survivor exclusive recluses, and Taft's unparalleled map pressure and slowdown. With the new update to Forsaken, notably including new maps such as Tempest and Work at a Pizza Place, alongside some other introductions, there was a list of new changes that was announced alongside the update's drop, featuring changes to certain characters. Some of these changes included Guest no longer taking damage after another guest's charge, Builderman and Taff both finally telling other survivors where their stuff is. Some of them were a little bit more needed than others, but the one that got the most changes was Dusekkar. With the changes to Duskar's entire kit, their whole playstyle shifts upside down. Where usually you'd barely see a Dusekkar in your lobbies unless they were either cracked out of their mind or mentally ill, the point stands that they were a rarity. As a Dusekkar main myself, I can vouch for the fact that his kit was harder to use than your average Forsaken, but that definitely did not reflect in its usage. Dusekkar always was and still is one of the best survivors in Forsaken. Unparalleled defensive methods alongside a speed up or down here and there made Dusekkar a force to be reckoned with as the killer. But herein lies the problem. What do you, a support main, do when there's no one left to support? Usually, I myself would rely on my reflexes to dodge the killer's M1s, usually resulting in a 50-50 of whether or not I could even barely make it to the end of the LMS timer. Having no one to protect, ironically means that there's no one to protect you from the dangers that you now must face alone. But now, you can fight back. Duskar's plasma beam used to be very small, so small in fact that it was the sole reason that no one played the character in the first place. With the way the plasma beam is aimed, it doesn't connect with killers, it connects with the nearest solid surface. This meant that with how small the hitbox used to be, you'd end up whiffing even though your cursor was hovered over the killer. Ever since the update, this hitbox has since tripled in size, making it much easier to hit a killer, helping in chase tremendously. Alongside this, the range was gutted. Being at least 30% smaller than it used to be, you now have to be a little bit closer before you can make good use of it. The biggest change that was made to the beam, and for that matter the shield too, was the introduction of sprinting, and quote, no longer slowing the user as heavily. This means that now you can use it mid-chase to keep yourself alive. So now we can officially say that Dusekkar now is a chase tool. Although it's a little bit harder to aim than if you were standing still, this forces the killer to either sidestep and lose distance, or get hit by the beam and be forced to pay their taxes. Based on the fact that the hitbox is now the size of your mother, you can also effectively hit both a survivor and a killer with one shot. Plus, now that the updates brought back the original Duskar's overheal, you can now effectively negate most of an M1 if timed correctly. Although it's a lot harder to hit than simply hitting one target, being mobile will allow you to maneuver around the chase correctly to place your crosshair at a passing choke point, making it more likely to hit both. Hey, editing CEO here. It turns out, during my field testing, Duskar's overheal blocks all damage. As long as you don't get hit by a gashing wound that hits multiple times for small bits of damage, you can block a mass infection straight up. Ultimately, this loops back around to how much you can help your teammates, and what better than with his other ability, Spawn Protection. Naturally, Spawn Protection still works very similarly to how it used to. You put a survivor into a Zorb and then push them down the nearest hill towards a killer. This bubble will practically negate all damage you throw at it to a certain degree. The change that was made to Spawn Protection was a small nerf to its range, meaning you can't just pitch a tent at Brandonworks and give your team a free win. The second change to his kit was the disembowelment of the shield's duration. To put it into perspective, Adjacent's Gashing Wound is only barely smaller than the new duration, making Duskar's main ability a lot harder to time. One of the more common places to put your shield when you can is when a teammate messes up during chase. For example, a Shadletsky attacking Ghosts, or a Guest main blocking the criticism they get during post-game lobbies. Since the shield is a lot more reliant on timing than pressing a button and winning, choosing when you use it is crucial. Instead of blocking a Void Rush, block the second slam. Instead of blocking the entanglement, block the mass infection, etc. More often than not, you are the lifeline of your team, and choosing who to protect at the right time can basically crack a killer's offense wide open. But always remember that this puts a planet-sized crosshair on your pumpkin-shaped head all the same. Remember, you have a chase tool, but you're still incurring the wrath of the more powerful side. Admittedly, there's not much you can do in these situations. But when the opportunity presents itself, give them hell.
This in your next video. You're stealing my tech. It's not gonna work. You're stealing my tech. Hole in one.
Come on, fuck him up, fuck him up. That's my boy.
Oh. Yeah, you think I would have dodged that this time. Anyway, let's speed up. We'll be a shit. Oh, shit.
Oh, go.
Fuck.
Where's your team?
Absolutely fucking nowhere.